Hi, this is my online report of my implementation of my online unit for sports medicine through Canvas, which is the platform my school uses. I'm going to go through it in basically two parts. Basically, I'll talk about my implementation and how I felt it went, as well as my students. And I did an online survey using Google Forms to get feedback from my students, as well as how they felt they went. A couple of things is I did two questions, two units, and it basically took 3 to 4 weeks for them to complete the two questions. And I also did two different formats. So one you can see here, where the activities are set out clearly using the syllabus. And the second way was basically they clicked on, same thing, the syllabus, but all the content was basically on one page. Most students did find the first option easier to navigate because they didn't get so lost, and I found a lot of my students did miss parts to this because it was all on one page and they kind of read it and missed activities, and that could be also because I needed to highlight them better. But again, all this wonderful feedback helps me to improve my units. So some of the positives that I found was that the kids enjoyed, the motivated kids enjoyed the self-paced learning. It helped to enhance their ability to solve problems, enhance independence, and they also, I found, used each other a lot more instead of asking me, which made me feel a little bit useless, but asking each other about what they'd done or where they were up to or what they needed to do. Which kind of, I guess, was an added benefit that I didn't think was going to happen. But that was great. I thought the videos I really enjoyed using too because they're there forever. We used the booklet and, the online units and activities so that they could basically, I still wanted them to have the booklet because a lot of my students kind of freak out if they haven't got anything written down, and I'd like to assume that they would come on and use this as a study tool, but I don't know how many would actually do it, so having the booklet there was also a backup. The quizzes they really loved, and I loved the quizzes because it allowed me to see when the students got up to the quiz, and also there were times where when the quizzes, when they did do a quiz, there was an aspect where they there was a point where I saw a few areas where they didn't go so well, so I could actually go back and say, oh, okay, look, we obviously struggled with this aspect of injuries, and I'll go over it and talk about it. So that was a really good way that I used the quizzes. However, the other thing I did find was that if kids weren't up to it yet or had gone way past it, they kind of forgot about the quiz or what they did in it. So kind of pluses and minuses there, but it's a really good formative assessment tool, which I like. The other thing that I found is that they got straight into it. They got into the classroom, knew they had to get their laptops out, and off they went. And so they didn't waste any time there, which I found wonderful, rather than us saying, okay, get out your book, let's get this out, okay, explain what's going to happen. They just got straight into it. I think what I found from their feedback was that I definitely have to add some different structuring of the online unit, allow them. So Jacinta, thank you so much. Jacinta uses the modules and is able to put requirements, and they have to go through the requirements before they can move on to the modules. So that to me is fantastic. So they can actually go into the module and see what they've done, and they can't move on to the next module until it's all complete, which is module, and it's set out in that way. They can't basically miss it because they can't move on. So thank you, Jacinta, for that, a fantastic pointer. And I'm still learning through Canvas, and as are my kids, so they still struggle with that aspect, I think, because they're trying to learn it and it's a little bit clunky, and same with me. Those tips I'm finding are going to help later on. And it's all a learning curve, so I'm still looking forward to improving that for next time. Some of the other positives were that it gave me more time to look at their booklets, which I wouldn't do as much, so it gave me an opportunity to see where they were up to. Also gave me an opportunity to provide more feedback within the content. Did enjoy that, I guess I said that with the more time that I could also mark extended responses, I could create more quizzes, more Kahoots, more Quizlet, which they do love. And I did try and do that when I knew that most of them were up to that. We'd play a Kahoots or a Quizlet game, and that got them. I said, okay, you have to all be up to this point, so they'd have to, some of them would have homework, others wouldn't. So it just depended on how well they used their time in class. Some of the aspects that I would like to improve is that I needed a more collaborative approach, and the students said that they felt like they were very isolated because they were looking at the laptop and kind of doing it on their own. So trying to do more collaborative activity. This activity was really great, which was very collaborative. They had to create a video, so I kind of had to stop them and say, okay, this is where we're up to, get your booklet, this is the page we're looking at, and you're going to create a video, because some of them were still up to like activity 6, and I needed to move on, and time was of the essence as well. I still told them they had to get up to this point by this time, so they still had time frames, but if they got up to that earlier, then they could continue on, which was good for those kids who were highly motivated or just more keen to get through the work. So this was a really great activity. They created a video, and we got to sit down, and we all had we watched each other's videos, and we had a laugh and a giggle about it, and I thought that was really nice, because it was, they did work together, they gave feedback on each other's videos, and it just gave them a really nice break from such a structured academic subject. Was something that was fun in a HSC course, which can be highly stressful. So that was really great for them. I did feel at times that I felt I didn't know where my kids were at and how they were going, but I think that's just me feeling like I wasn't wanted, so that's something I need to get over, but it was a little bit different because, again, that was something that I wasn't used to. Another thing was when kids got up to a point that was difficult, or that they hadn't basically understood. If more than one student, I had to explain it more than once, because if I said, stop, okay, listen to me, they weren't up to it. I did like, as I said, I wanted to provide more feedback in terms of the discussions, which I thought was great, but the kids didn't really jump on board with that. So I think that might be something that I'd have to use for the modules as requirements. They have to reply to those discussions, and I would hope that they would read other people's discussions, so that was part of it, is that you got more understanding and got more examples to use for yourself in your extended responses. But sometimes they kind of just did the activity and then wanted to move on. So again, something that I have to work on. This was a survey that I gave to them, so it just basically asked them what they liked, what they didn't like, etc., and any ways they can improve. So these were their responses. Half of them that responded said that they didn't really like the experience, and we kind of had one that loved it, one that thought it was okay, and so on and so forth. What they liked best was that it was basically the videos, and they could go online anytime and just do it at their own pace without having to wait for anyone else and things like that. And I said they enjoyed the video, and I think that's great because it just gives a different aspect. Were there positives? Again, that whole self-paced learning, which they enjoyed, and I think they like that because it shows independence, and it feels like that they're taking their own control of their learning. What did they like least is that there was kind of that lack of connection between myself and the teacher. Myself and them. And here I thought was really sort of poignant for me was that if I didn't understand something, I was hesitant to ask questions because all the information was in front of me, so I felt silly. So I felt that because it was there and the answer must be there and they shouldn't ask me. That was a bit of a shame, I felt. that they were a bit more reluctant. And I did go around and ask, but still, they were a bit reluctant for that. So some of them just struggled with the amount of work that they had to do in class. I didn't think it was more than what I would normally do, but there you go. They liked the physicality of me teaching, the enthusiasm and stuff. So, but again, that's something they're used to. No one likes change, so who knows? Any negatives? No, not really. Just kind of the interactions. Did you like the self-paced learning? Sometimes, again, depending on what they were feeling of the day. Everyone could work at their own pace, which was kind of the main thing that they liked. Did they prefer this style over traditional learning? No. Most of them said no, but some said, yeah, there were good and bad points, so really just depends on the student, I guess. Flipped learning or online learning, because I did flipped learning for factors affecting performance, and then my online was sports medicine, so we had a 50-50 split there, and they both had positives and negatives to it. What they liked about the flipped learning was it was less tedious than having to watch videos on Canvas. You're unable to interact, which could be another aspect of the collaboration, creating their own videos to teach the class about something. Again, why did they like the flipped learning over the traditional? Well, again, 50-50. So, and it's the same stuff, you know. Some of them don't like carrying the technology around because it's heavy. We don't have lockers, so that's an aspect there that they have to bring it every day, and that's annoying. The videos I like because it's always there. So again, effort level, that's a spread across my class anyway, so there's no difference there. Some of them just didn't feel like that they had the time to do it, or they didn't have anyone to motivate them. So there you go. Contribution at the beginning, so spread there, but then at the end I had more of them at the top, which is what I want. That's fantastic. And again, it depends on the student. Structure easy to follow. This is what I'm concerned with. I'd really like to improve that. So I've got some ideas there. What was the hardest part? The motivation, the understanding of the content, and knowing where they were up to. Again, I could fix this. Maybe try and improve the structuring and, you know, getting them to speak to me more. And the motivation, well, again, that depends on the student too. So maybe making it more fun, more collaboration. Again, they like the videos, so that's great. Did they have enough assistance from me? Most said yes, but I still have 50% said no or sometimes, so half. Overall, some improvements. Some of them said doing some at home, some in the classroom, and some online. So kind of a three-way split, you know, flipped learning, traditional learning, and the online. Said it was hard for me to know where everyone was up to. Oh, very nice. Ditch the Canvas, we love your face. Maybe reading the discussions so they can talk about it as a class. They feel like an element of unity engagement within the class as a whole was missing when we used Canvas, and I missed that. So they like to collaborate but talk about it. So trying to get that onto Canvas is my, I guess, my goal and my aim. Maybe going over more of the content and clarifying, and this is what I said I found hard when all the kids are at different points. How do I make sure that when I am going over work that everyone's at the same point? So that's another point, something else I have to work on. But overall, I did enjoy it. Probably not as much as my students, but I'm looking forward to making adjustments and honing it and adding more units and fixing up the ones that I have. So thank you so much for watching my video. And